Hey everybody, David Nakkila here with iPro Realty and the Your Green Homes real estate team, bringing you another video. I'm going to give you 8 ideas on strategies that you could use when getting started in real estate investing, not in any particular order. There is no strategy that is better than the other. It just comes down to what your goals and needs are that determines which strategy is best for you. One strategy that you could use is called the fix and flip strategy. With the fix and flip strategy, you're going to want to purchase a place that needs repairs and then fix it up and then flip it, sell it for a profit. So with this strategy, one of the best rule of thumbs that you could use is the 70% rule. So with the 70% rule, you only want to pay 70% of the after repair value. So say you're going to sell this place for $100,000, you want to be all in at about $70,000, which is 70%. Now I'm using those numbers just for rough math, but you can always increase that. If you're doing a place downtown Toronto, a detached home, and it's going to be worth $1 million after, you're only going to want to try and put in $700,000 into it. So that includes the purchase, the closing costs, and the renos. A lot of people do lose money when doing fix and flips because they usually are not in that 70% range, and so a lot of people can lose their shirts when they're doing this. The fix and flip strategy is best for someone that already has quite a bit of money and wants to be actively involved in actually doing the renovations. If you're going to be paying contractors, it's going to be a lot more costly and can be a lot more difficult to generate a profit. And the other risky thing is, say the renovations take 3 to 4 months and then another month of listing it. You don't know where the market's going to be at that end goal. So it can be a risky strategy in that sense. But there are a lot of people that make a lot of serious money doing this strategy, and it is definitely worth looking into. So fix and flip, that was strategy number 1. And our strategy number 2 that we're going to discuss today is called wholesaling. So wholesaling is the idea that you are locking up something under contract below market value and then reselling that to someone else before the closing date in order to make a profit, say $5,000 or $10,000, something like that. Wholesaling is more of a full-time gig. You're going to want to be able to put a lot of effort and focus into it. You're going to want to know all the values of the houses. You're going to want to be able to put together marketing campaigns and market to homeowners in order to sell their house to you. And then you're going to have to find buyers in order to buy it to make that profit. So it's a very risky ordeal. I personally don't recommend it, but it is one of the real estate strategies that is a viable option. A lot of people do this in the USA. There's lots of information out there on the internet about it. I'm just mentioning it here in the video, but as I said, I don't recommend it. If you're going to be getting it under contract for lower than what it's worth just to sell it to someone else, why don't you just close on it, do the repairs, renos, rent it out, whatever that end user is going to be buying it for. You may as well take that full profit instead of just getting a $5,000 or $10,000 cut. One of my favorite strategies is strategy number 3 called house hacking. So house hacking is where you own the house and you rent out a portion of the house, whether that be a separate apartment in the house, a bedroom or 2 bedrooms, or say you're going to Airbnb all your bedrooms and sleep in the living room. There's all sorts of different strategies that you can use with house hacking. You can also do house hacking without even owning a house. So you could rent a house, as long as it's all okay with your lease, rent the house and then rent out separate rooms to roommates and maybe charge them a little bit more in order to offset your full cost of actually paying for the whole unit, or just split the bill evenly. And that's a great way of house hacking, and that is a really great strategy in order to save money to be able to invest in the future or purchase a home. So number 4 is the live in and rent out strategy. In this strategy, you're going to smash the like button and subscribe. No, seriously. The live in and rent out strategy is where you purchase a place and then you live there for a few years and then you rent rent it out in the future. So that means you're moving out, purchasing another place, or maybe you actually move into a rental and you rent out your place. That's a good viable strategy in order to get into the market, and it's a great way to be able to purchase a home for 5% down or 10% down, because you're going to be using the place as a personal residence at first, so you can qualify for high ratio mortgage. Whereas if you're purchasing it specifically as a rental, you usually have to put down 20 to 25% down. If you're enjoying this video and you're liking the content that I put out there so far, please leave me a comment below, press the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really helps me out and it helps spread my content out to other people. If you know someone that could use this information, please share this video with them. And I really do appreciate it because I put in quite a bit of time into making the video. So strategy number 5 is called the live-in flip. Again, this is a personal property that you're living in, and during the time that you're living there, you're actually renovating it and improving the value of the property and then selling it in order to make a profit. So you would do this over a 1 to 2 year span usually. If you're in Canada, you need to live in the property for over a year to avoid capital gains. If you're in the States, you got to wait 2 years. So keep that in mind accordingly with where you live, and just check your local laws, as I'm not an accountant or lawyer. I'm just giving free advice on the internet. So please do all your due diligence with any of these. The live-in flip is a great strategy, and I highly recommend it to anyone starting out to buy something that is not quite that nice, that you can put some elbow grease into and fix it up. Strategy number 6 is the buy, rehab, refinance, rent, repeat strategy, which is also known as the BRRRR strategy. So you're buying it, rehabbing it, taking out all your money, then you're putting that money into another deal in order to do that again, and renters are paying down the mortgage and the loan on that property. I do like the concept of this strategy, but in Canada it's a little challenging. You do have to buy it quite a bit below market, and you have to have a lot of capital up front in order to do this. And typically it's pretty difficult to pull out all the money that you've invested. So I wouldn't count on getting all your money back. You might be able to get some of your money back. And as well, depending on what mortgage you lock into during the interim that you're actually doing the renovations, you may have a large penalty when you're switching the mortgage in order to refinance to pull your money out. So really do your due diligence and speak to your mortgage broker before locking into any mortgages. You may have to do a higher percentage mortgage, say 5%, 6% in the short term, in order to be able to actually refinance and pull your money out. So this is something that you really need to do your due diligence on in speaking to your mortgage broker and seeing if it is a viable option for you. But it is very nice that you can pull out quite a bit of money back after you've done the renovations in order to purchase something else. Strategy number 7 is called the short-term buy and hold. So in this strategy, you're looking to buy something that's under market value or that's in a very highly appreciating area, and you're purchasing it, holding it, renting it for the short term, say 5 to 10 years or even less, maybe 2 years, and trying to sell it in order to make a profit. Now this strategy can be risky depending on the area you're purchasing in, and as well, if anything like the current pandemic pops up again, you aren't guaranteed that you will actually have risen in value in order to make a profit after all your real estate fees, your closing expenses on the buy and the sell. I prefer strategy number 8, which is the long-term buy and hold. So it's where you're purchasing something and then you are renting it out for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, just letting the entire mortgage get paid off, then living off of that cash flow when the mortgage is paid off, or using that cash flow in order to pay for your kids' education, that sailboat you always wanted, that trip around the world. Just help out a lot of people, your family, your friends, charities, your church, whatever it may be. So the long-term buy and hold strategy is personally my favorite, because in the long term, as you know, real estate is always appreciating. It may go up and it may go down certain years, but if you're holding it over a 20-year period, you're very likely to have made quite a bit of money, typically about 4 to 5% per year on the money that you originally invested. Say you're purchasing a house for $100,000. So we'll put in 100,000 here. It's going to be appreciating, let's be conservative here, put 4%, and you're going to hold it for 20 years. So 20 years. In 20 years, you'll have $219,000. That's just crazy. What if your starting price on that was more of an average cost, say $400,000 condo or something like that? At the end of that 20 years at 4%, you're going to end up with $876,000. And let's just change that just to 6% just to see what it would be. So 400 grand in 20 years, appreciating at 6%, would be 1.282 million. And that's not even taking into any account that you are also having tenants paying down your mortgage during that time. Tenants are paying you that entire time, and there will be rent increases, and you will be earning a profit each month during that entire period. I'll tell you a story about the first property I actually purchased. So I purchased it for $245,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom townhome in Guelph, Ontario. I was actually losing about $50 to $100 per month renting that place out for the first year. Now, after that, I was able to increase the rent and start to earn a profit. So now I've held it for 5 years, and I've continually been able to increase the rent with the market rent, and I'm able to make a decent amount of profit on that. And it's also a good buffer if things went wrong with the property. If a water pipe burst or something, then I would have that money to be able to repair that. That's why you always want to be able to make a profit. If the first property you buy doesn't produce a profit, as long as you're able to float that difference, you're okay. But at the same time, it's not something that I advise my clients to do, and I don't push my clients to do that. I try and steer them towards something that they will be able to make money on, even if it's $10 or $20 or $30 a month profit. I prefer them to be at that point instead of at the point of losing $100 or $200 or $300 a month. That is a risky move, especially if those tenants stop paying. You're going to be out of pocket a lot of money. With that being said, you're going to want to have cash reserves on hand. I would suggest you have 3 to 6 months of expenses on any rental property that you own in the bank set aside in case something goes wrong. So with that being said, you guys, that's it for today's video. If you like the video, please leave me a comment. Click that like button, make sure to turn it blue. Hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. If you have any friends that this information would benefit, please send this video over to them. And please leave me some comments telling me what types of videos you'd like, or if there's any strategy in particular here that you would like me to dive into. Please let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for tuning in. This is David Nakkila signing off.